I see the studio process still as an experiment of how much of a band sound I can create on my own. It just excites me if the production sounds larger than my little room in the end. I think also when you see the live show, it's obvious that I want to present the music in a band context. And in the studio, it's becoming more and more the same process of a band recording rather than someone, controlling some knobs and faders in the computer. And I think that informs the music and makes it more vivid. And Echoes is probably a good example for this. I really wanted to go for a disco orchestra kind of sound. The main element that everything else is based around is the bass line, and it's played on a 1970s ARP X. It's really simple but amazing synthesizer that I use a lot for bass sounds. It doesn't have a MIDI input, which means you have to play it perfectly and you can't send the sequence of notes from the computer. So it took me quite a while to nail it actually, and the synth also sounds slightly different from take to take. So remember, I couldn't decide on which take to use for way too long. But there's something magic in some of these old machines. It's that mojo you're often looking for but cannot recreate inside the computer.
But maybe tonight we can leave the past behind.
Something I did on Echoes, which I haven't done for quite a long time, was to have a musical and lyrical resolution as a second part of the track that almost works as a reply to the whole beginning. I think, the first half is quite regretful and melancholic. There should be the epiphany, realizing you can always slip back into the good part of a memory and coming to terms with it. In the very end, it builds into this big nostalgic and euphoric moment and turns dealing with the past into something positive and ecstatic. It was quite a challenge to produce and mix it though. I wanted to turn this quite tidy and clean disco track into this big wall of sound with big drums and lots of guitars. I'm also super happy that Kat Frankie recorded some backing vocals for Echoes. I think you can really hear her in this last part of the track. She's an Australian singer-songwriter based in Berlin, and I think she really added some kind of magic and sparkle on top of my voice that I really couldn't have done by myself. Echoes was also quite a physical track in the studio. As soon as I liked something, I started moving around and dancing in the studio. It was almost like as soon as I realized that I respond in a physical way to the music, that's mostly the moment I knew I'm onto something that excites me.